Hello, Woodland Park teachers. Happy Friday. It's Friday afternoon, and I'm kind of trying to finish up the day here. And on behalf of the Guiding Coalition, thought we'd just send out some information to you and kind of share some of the things we've been working on. This video will take about 10 minutes. I'm going to try to be as brief as I can, and I really would appreciate just take a few minutes to clear out your schedule and watch this video and understand it thoroughly, and let me know if you have any questions. So with that said, I'm going to get right to it. I want to start with kind of just a little some information and talk to you about what we've been doing. So I've met with the Guiding Coalition twice now. I've met with the steering team once. The steering team have just been working on what we agreed to do at our last PLC of the school year. If you remember correctly, we developed a list of school-wide protocols and procedures that we wanted to develop. The purpose of that is so that we're all on the same page so we can be more effective in reinforcing the expectations of our school. Hopefully we'll be more successful and have less discipline issues. So we took those items, we reviewed them, we broke them down into 3 or 4 step processes, and then our plan is to meet again before the start of the school year to finalize those processes and then present them out to the staff to make sure we're all on the same page. The Guiding Coalition, we have met twice now. We've been working through our book, which is called Taking Action. It's what we got when we went to the RTI conference, and I'm pretty excited about it. So here's some of the things that we've been talking about is what is our purpose, what is the teacher's purpose, what's the Guiding Coalition's team's purpose, and what do we want you to get accomplished going into next school year. We found out pretty quick that there's a lot of things that need to be done before kids come if we want to start the RTI process successfully. What we don't want is we don't want you to be completely overwhelmed to start the school year, which is why I'm sending this video out now so we can get kind of a head start on things. Here's some things that we would like to have you do before students come for the school year. I've kind of listed them in bullet points. First of all, we need to identify our priority standards in both ELA and math. Those should be done. You did ELA standards during your PLC with your district colleagues, and you did your math priority standards here at Woodland Park last year. So those should be done, hopefully. Number 2, you should break the priority standards down into learning targets that are stated in student-friendly terminology. Again, this should be done. I'm not sure if we did that step for math or not, but I don't think it'd be real difficult to get that completed as well. Number 3, we want you to scope and sequence these standards to ensure all standards are thoroughly covered to mastery during the school year. This is important. One of the first things you should be doing that might be new is to make sure you lay out your scope and sequence for the year. You might find out that you have too many priority standards and there's no way you can cover that information to mastery throughout the year. You might need to reduce some of your priority standards, or you might find out you have more time, or you might find out you need to change your units around to make sure you have the correct layment going into our standardized test at the end of the year. Okay, and the 4th thing is to develop unit plans for each of these standards to ensure mastery from every student for every priority standard. Our goal, realistically, is for you to have the very first standard for math and the very first standard for ELA done before students come in August. Let me show you the process of what we'd like you to have done. Okay, I want to take you into our team drive and kind of lay out for you what this looks like. So I'm just going to show you on my screen. If you go to your Google Drive, and if you go into Team Drives, and you go into Woodland Park Staff, and once you get to Woodland Park Staff, if you go down here and click in your 2017-18 Woodland Park data folders, you'll find the forms that we started working on last year during our PLCs. There is a folder in there, or a document in there called Woodland Park ELA and Math Promise Standards. If you would click on that, and you can just watch my screen for now, you're going to find this document. We already started working on this last year. Jill Blaylock was very kind to go through and make tabs across the bottom for every grade level. There's kindergarten ELA, kindergarten math, first grade ELA, first grade math, and so on. I'm going to scroll over to the 4th grade because they've already met and been working on this. If I can get there. All right. There we go. All right, so here's 4th grade ELA. So across the top of this form, you're going to see the 4 questions of the PLC process. What do we expect them to learn? How do we know if they've learned it? Okay. What do we do when students haven't learned it? And what do we do when students have learned it? Okay. These are the common questions that we work on all the time through our PLC process. I'm trying to find a way to reduce this. It's not letting me do it. Okay, so I'm trying to learn how to make these videos, so bear with me. I think I got it figured out. So this is the document again across the top of the 4 questions of PLC process. The far left column, it says standards. This is where Jill has copied and pasted your priority standards in there. I went ahead and highlighted in orange the 4th grade ELA priority standards so that you know what they're at. Underneath that is their learning targets stated in student-friendly terms. And between each standard, you'll see is a black marker here that separates each standard. So it's very clear the different units you're going to be in. Okay. The first 2 columns says where is this covered? Numbers of days taught. I'm going to scroll down here. The 4th grade teachers have already started meeting, and they've already started working through some of this. So they're looking at where it's taught and how many days they've spent on it. The next question is the common formative assessments. What are you doing during the unit to make sure that the kids are understanding what you're teaching? And if you want to link them, you can link this formative assessment in here. Every assessment doesn't have to be something you establish yourself. It might be a simple quick check that you already have that you've been doing for years as a teacher. The next column is the date the assessment is given. The next column is your common summative assessment. So at the end of teaching your core instruction, you're going to give a summative assessment. Once you've finished teaching everything in that standard, you will assess the students to make sure they know it. And then if you scroll over, the next column says you should record which students have mastered it. Hopefully 90% of your kids or more have mastered that. Maybe all of them have mastered it, and which kids haven't. There are lots of examples. I'll click on a few of links that you can use. For example, here's a 2nd grade tracking system that they use for their priority standards and which kids mastered and which kids didn't. This is a document that I showed you last year that you could be used. You'd write the standard in here. You'd write down which kids need extension, which kids need specialized instruction, and which teacher is going to be using that. So these are just some examples of links you could use that you could put into that document. Okay? All right, back to our form. And then the last 2 columns are interventions and extensions. These are simply things that you can put in there for help for next year so you remember what you did for how you extended or used interventions. You don't have to have this done for the first 2 units, okay? But I would expect that for the first math priority standard and the first ELA priority standard that you would have all these other columns hopefully at least started before kids come. All right. So let me kind of review what this should look like, okay? This is a graphic in the RTI book of kind of what your unit should look like. So first of all, you're going to unwrap your priority standards. You're going to figure out your priority standards and unwrap them. You're going to do a screener to see which kids know it, which kids don't, and then you're going to begin your core instruction. During your core instruction, you'll be giving formative assessments that you give in unison with your grade level colleague. You'll analyze those results, and you'll use that to monitor your instruction and guide your instruction. So this is within your unit. Once you're finished covering the entire standard through your teaching unit, then you're going to give an end of the unit assessment or end of the standard assessment, okay? And from that, you'll look at the results, and you will then place kids into interventions or extensions if needed, and that's the process of covering each priority standard, okay? All right, so to recap, the 4 things we want to have done going into the next school year: identify priority standards in both ELA and math, break the priority standards down into learning targets that are stated in student-friendly terminology, scope and sequence these standards to ensure all standards are thoroughly covered to mastery during the school year. The first 3 should be mostly done already. The 4th one that we're asking you to do this summer is develop unit plans for each of the standards to ensure mastery from every student for every priority standard. We're going to start by just getting the first standard done for math and the first standard done for ELA before kids come. If possible, that's our goal. Might not be possible. All right, final thoughts. Again, I want to offer to pay you. You can come in with your grade level colleague. Hopefully you can get it done within 6 hours. But if you need more time, let me know. You'll get paid $20 an hour for that. If you're going to do that, you do need to fill out one of these blue sheets. It looks just like this. These are in my mailbox here at school. You need to grab one, fill it out, sign it, put it back in my mailbox, and I'll make sure you get paid. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me. Let me know when you're meeting. I'd be glad to come in and sit with you to answer questions, to work through the process together. And I might not have all the answers, but we'll certainly try to figure it out. That's what I have for you today. Thank you for your patience and thanks for listening. I hope you have a great rest of the summer, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again here in about a month. Talk to you later.